Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you guys for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate. If you are new to my channel, you are very welcome. If you have not subscribed already, please subscribe and then like my videos. Hit on that bell on the side just to get an update. So guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and form various necklines with their standard and measurements. So enough of all these boring necklines of like round neckline, V neckline. So today I'm bringing 4 new necklines to the table. So before I proceed, I just want to tell you guys that this November I'm going to be doing a special corset class. So in this class you are going to be learning everything about corset. At the end of this class, I guarantee you that you are going to be a corset and master. I'm making it so easy for you to understand. You know, when I say easy, I mean easy. So the first neckline I'm going to show you how to cut now is the illusion neckline. So this illusion neckline is really trendy. So after cutting it, you could, because it's kind of deep, so a yoke is always required for it. So you have to put a tool just to cover up, unless you want to expose your business. So I'm going to show you that. So I'm just going to keep this on the side. It's really simple and easy. So I have my pattern paper already patterned like your half bodies up here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use the standard measurement. So I'm going to make use of like between 3 inches and 3.5 inches. So this is like standard. So I'll make use of 3.5 inches width. That's from the top here. This is the width of 3.5 inches. And then from this and 3.5 inches and width, I'm going to come down by 4 inches. I'll come down by 4 inches. So it depends on how deep you want it to be. If you really want it deep, you could go down more. So from this point now, from this 4 inches point, I'm just going to make a square line like this before I continue. So this is done. So the next thing I'm going to do now, from this 4-inch point, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. So this is like 3 inches. So from this point to this point now is 3 inches. So I'm just going to put a mark here, and then I'm going to come to this point here. I'm going to measure half an inch. So you could decide to do, depends on how wide you want the mid to be. So you could decide to do 1 inch, you could decide to do half an inch. But since you are going to be putting a yoke, 1 inch will still be okay. So I'm just going to measure half an inch for the sake of this illustration here. And then you are going to choose how deep you want it to be. So I'm just going to go one step at a time. So from this half an inch point, I'm going to be making an arc from this point to this point. So it's better for me to do it this way, so it will be easy. So when I say making an arc, so I'm just going to be back flipping like this. So you see what I'm doing? So I'm back flipping it. So the next thing you are going to do now depends on how deep. You know, there are some that it will even get to up to the belly button. So it depends on how deep you want it to be. So for this case, I'm just going to be making use of about 8 inches. That's for the depth. You could do 9. Some even do it up to their bust point. That's like 10 inches. So I'll do 8 inches or 8.5 for the sake of this illustration. So the next time I'm just going to do now, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to create the illusion neckline to this point. So I think I should extend it. So I'm going to do 9 inches. So it's just going to come. So I'm going to use this now and then create the V like this to this point. So you see what I have. So this part, you're just going to blend it, making sure that it is well and blended. So this is just like, basically, it's like I said, it's really simple. So I'm going to cut it out now. So in cutting, I'm just going to come like this. I'll cut on this line like this. So we'll cut out this line, and then we'll cut through our curve like this. So guys, so you can see, this is what we have. So like I said, a yoke is usually added to it to cover up this part. If you want it wider, you know, I used half an inch. You could decide to use 1 inch or even 2 inch. So it depends on how wide you want it to be. So this is the first one. So the next neckline that I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be doing the cold and shoulder halter neckline, but the cold shoulder pattern of it is really trendy and it's really beautiful. So to do that, this is what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to be using the standard measurement because this is a cold shoulder, so the neckline is usually not very big. Sorry, because it's an halter neckline, it's usually not very wide. So for this, I'm going to be making use of 3 inches width, because you know you are going to be attaching like a small collar to it if you want to. So I'm going to use 3 inches from this point like this. That's the width of the neckline, 3 inches. And then I'm going to come, since it's an halter neckline, I'm going to make use of 1 inch. You could do 1 inch or 1.5. Most time I always like doing 1.5, so it doesn't really choke too much, so it's deep, and then you'll be able to attach the collar properly. So I'm going to do 1.5. For somebody that is a plus size, you could do 2 inches. So I'm just going to do a round neckline from this point. So this is like our round neckline. So since it's a cold shoulder neckline, you are going to measure usually sleeve round and sleeves, we normally use between 8 and 9 inches, depends on the width of the person, that's the bust, between 8 and 9 inches. So you are going to determine where you actually want your cold shoulder, how open you actually want your cold shoulder to be. So you measure from your shoulder to how deep you want it to be. So I'm going, for this illustration, I'm going to be making use of about 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches is okay. So I'm just going to measure it on the armhole part. So you see what I have. And then from this point, I'm going to be making a straight line from this point to this point to get out my cold shoulder part. So I'm just going to take it like this to the neckline. So in doing this, okay, I'm just going to measure it now. Mark rather. So I've marked it out. So you could see what we have. You see the shape is already there. So when you are fixing your sleeve now, you are going to be fixing your sleeve from this point. So this is going to be the remaining part of your armhole where you are going to fix your sleeve. So I'm just going to cut it out now. So you can see what we have. So this point now, this round point, so you could see the neckline. So this point now, this is where you are going to be fixing your sleeve. So when you attach your cold shoulder sleeve, that's your off shoulder sleeve to this point. So this side is going to be perfect, just like the picture that we have up there. So this is done. So the third neckline that I'm going to be showing you how to cut now, I'm going to be showing you how to cut the scallop neckline. I've gotten this request before from somebody, then I just had to explain it to her. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that right now. So the scallop neckline, they are usually different types. There's the round scallop, and then there's the square scallop. So this, I'm going to be teaching you how to do the round scallop. That's the one that has just like the edges of lace. That's like the savages of lace. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. So I'm going to be using the measurement I'm going to be making use of. I'm going to be making use of our standard 3.5 inches standard. So this is like my 3.5 inches standard. So, and then the depth that I'm going to be making use of, like I normally say in most of my videos, you should measure out your neckline, how deep you want it to be. So for this, I'm going to be making use of 7 inches. I'm going to be making use of 7 inches. So this is my 7 inches mark here. So I'm just going to create a V neckline now, which is just like a slant. I'm just going to connect this point to this point. So that's like a V neckline. So I've created my V and neckline. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to include my scallop now. So for this, you could decide to do it in 2 ways. It depends on how many scallop you actually want on the neckline. So for this, I'm going to be making use of 2 inches and mark, because I don't want, because at times if they are too small, it's always a problem when you are sewing, when you are turning with a lining. It's usually a problem, so it will not come out properly. So it's always good for you to make them a little bit big. It will be better for you to have like 3 scallop than having 6, and then the aim is defeated. The beauty will not come out. So I'm just going to make use of 2 inches on width. So this is 2 inches, and then this is another 2 inches, and then this is another 2 inches. So from this point, this is what I'm going to do. So you could decide to do this in your own ways. Depends on how big you want it to be. So I'm just going to create round. So from this point, so you could decide to do 1 inch. Depends on how pronounced you want it to be. So I'm just going to do half inch. But if I'm sewing, I think I should do 1 inch. So I'm just going to, this is just like a reference, so for me to know how to curve. So I'm just going to take my pattern like this, and then I'm curving it to this point, just to curve out this point. So it depends on how curved it is. That is what will determine the beauty of it. So I'm just going to do the second one now. So from this point now, so I'm just going to use my free hand. I'm finding it a little bit difficult, so I'm going to use dotted lines, so it will be better. So you see what I have. So this is it. It's really simple and easy. So you should before you do this, I advise you try it on a pattern first before you cut on your actual fabric. So I'm just going to cut them out like this now, following the. So at the end of the day, so you see what we have. You see how beautiful it is. So like I was saying, there's a rough and one that I did earlier that I used and smaller, that I used 1 inch. So you see the 1 inch, it came out fine, but when you're sewing, you're going to have problem with this. But this one that is 2 inches, you see how bold it is. So at the end of the day, when you sew the neckline and turn, it will come out perfect. So that's why I said don't use 1 inch. Okay, so the last neckline that I'm going to show you how to cut now is the sweetheart neckline with some straps. So it's really simple. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be making use of standard of 3.5 inches width, and then I'm going to measure. I'm going to use 6 inches depth, just like it's almost like what we did with the illusion neckline. So I'm going to mark it like this and then bring it to this point. So because we want it to be deeper, you know the other one we used 1 inch. For this we're going to be making use of 2 inches. So this is our 2 inches. So the next thing we're going to do now is just for us to create a very beautiful big arc like this to this point. So you see we're not leaving, you know the other one we actually left an inch here, but for this we're not leaving any inch. So it depends on how curved you want your sweetheart neckline to be. That is what will determine the arc that you're going to make use of. So I'm going to cut it out now and then show you how to attach the straps to it. So you cut like this and then cut out. So for the straps, you're going to, and this you could decide to do it however you want to do it. So it's just your creativity. You just have to bring your creativity to life here. So I'm just going to make it something like a triangle arc. So the first one I'm going to do, so this you could decide to make it deeper so you'll be able to connect your straps. So it depends on how deep you want it to be. So for this, I'm just going to come to the center of my paper. So my pattern paper, you see, is folded into 2. So I'm going to just measure out. I'm going to measure what I have here. So I have about 8 inches here. So I'm going to use about 5 inches. So I'll have excess. I'm just trying to create out like a pattern, like a neckline pattern here. So I've created out the neckline pattern. So the next thing, so it depends on how wide you actually want your straps to be. So I could make use of 2 inches. So after stitching, it reduces to about 1.5. So from this point now, I'm just going to like mark it up to this point now. So I'm extending by 1 inch. So I'll now extend this point by 1 inch. So I'm just going to create this point like this. That's for the neck, for the first one. So I'm going to cut it out now. And then I'm going to cut out this part. I'll cut out 2 pieces. So this is going to be for the first one. So you're going to place them like this together. So one is going to be on top and then the other one is going to be on the down part. So you could see what I have here. So you see that round part of the neckline. So after stitching this part, you are going to be trimming all of them off, and then this part is going to be coming down like this. So for this, since I'm adding this strap, so because it is a pattern, so that is why it is looking like this. But like I said, you know, initially I actually used if you are going to be adding the straps to it, so you should make the neckline, so you could make it to be like between 7 inches to 8 inches, so you'll be able to attach them. Then the straps, you should also, like I said, you use about 2 inches, so after stitching it reduces to about 1.5. so it's going to be, the straps are going to be like this. So one is going to be facing up, so you see the round and neckline on top, and then this other one is going to be facing down. So you could decide to attach your straps however you want to attach them. So guys, I've now come to the end of this illustration. If you find this video that I've done, this video, if you find it helpful, please do not hesitate to hit on the like button. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. So you attach your collar to this. So thank you so much, and God bless you.